What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, Minicamp just wrapped up for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll be diving into all you need to know coming in from those practices and some of the topics we're going to be discussing today. We're going to start off with J.J. McCarthy. He's had some ups and some downs. We'll highlight a couple plays here in a second. Also, Christian Darrisaw. He was back doing individual drills. So we'll share with you guys some more info there. And then UDFA corners. Zemaiah Vaugn from Utah, 6'3". Apparently he was getting some reps with the ones, which is great news for us Vikings fans. And then we also just got some more random nuggets for you guys. But if you guys are fired up for some Vikings football, just hit me with the skull down below in the comments section. I want it to look like U.S. Bank Stadium on game day. Imagine Sunday night, the Atlanta Falcons are coming into town for the home opener. Just give me those skulls down below in the comments section. We can talk about some J.J. McCarthy here. So, J.J. McCarthy had some ups and some downs here at minicamp, which is natural. I mean, the guy's 22 years old. He's still going through the learning process of figuring out how to be an NFL quarterback. But Alec Lewis was writing up an article talking about minicamp, and he highlighted J.J. McCarthy, and also massive shout out to Alec Lewis. Does fantastic work. We'll be going through a lot of quotes that he had on today's show. But this is what he said about McCarthy. We'll start with J.J. McCarthy. The 22-year-old concluded his spring with an efficient day. McCarthy frequently refrained from throwing the ball into contested windows, choosing instead to complete underneath checkdowns against non-traditional defensive looks. He completed an out route to receiver Justin Jefferson. Running back Aaron Jones caught a pass over the middle of the field. A few of McCarthy's throws resulted in high fives from quarterbacks coach Josh McCown. And I love hearing that J.J. McCarthy was not trying to be too aggressive in this day in minicamp. He was just taking what the defense was giving it to him. And also, you think about, Brian Flores giving these exotic looks. Like, it's got to be a lot to handle for a 22-year-old guy. But I love the fact that Aaron Jones was getting going in the passing game here, because I'm in the camp that Jordan Mason will get a majority of the carries in the running game by the second half of the season. But that could leave open an opportunity for Aaron Jones to be that scat back, that third down guy. He's pretty solid in blitz pickup. Clearly the Vikings did not trust Ty Chandler in that spot last year, and that was a big reason why Aaron Jones was damn near playing 100% of reps during the season. But if he could get going in the pass game, get him some screen looks, maybe some wheel routes, I think that could be another wrinkle of this Vikings offense that we didn't really see a whole lot last season. We saw him in certain spots, but I could see Aaron Jones going for 500, 600 yards through the air this season. But KOC was also talking about McCarthy, saying this: he can't be too hard on himself. But at the same time, what is your standard to get not to where you are now, but where you want to go? And, we obviously know J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell have huge standards for this season. And, they are the same person. Like, literally hearing them talk, they speak the exact same way. They almost have the same cadence when they're talking to the media, both very positive guys that are addicted to the process. And I do think that matters. When you have a quarterback and a head coach who are on the same page, they both speak the same way. But also, you would hope the quarterback and your star wide receiver are on the same page. And this is what Jefferson had to say about McCarthy, saying he can let it rip for sure. That's definitely the thing about him. He has a very strong arm. The velocity of the ball and the spin on the ball, he has a tight spin. And, you can already tell by the way these two talk about each other that the connection is building. And Jefferson actually mentioned that him, Addison, and McCarthy are going to get some work in before Vikings training camp. And it's so funny. We're getting these reports this week. Oh, McCarthy doesn't have a big arm. And it seems like all of JJ's teammates and all of the coaching staff are just like, that's a ludicrous report. This guy's been slinging the ball all throughout OTAs, all throughout minicamp. He's got a cannon of an arm. I just don't know where Colin Cowherd's getting some of his info. But McCarthy talked about his own training camp or minicamp experience, and he had a badass quote here saying, "They push the limits on what I can handle. That's what I ask for. I'd rather sweat in training and limit the bleeding on the battlefield when we get there." What a bar from J.J. McCarthy. Obviously it's an old cliche. You make practice hard so those games feel easy, and that's what the Vikings are trying to do here with McCarthy, because this is a Super Bowl year for the Vikes. You cannot go through growing pains with those expectations. Now, yes, maybe you can, manage a ship for the first couple of months, but you would hope November, December rolls around, and J.J. McCarthy's playing like a top 15 quarterback. Those are their expectations for him. I'm sure I'm sure J.J. even has higher expectations for himself, thinking he would be a top 10 guy this year. But I love his mentality. It's even more reason why I'm a huge believer in J.J. McCarthy. But let's show him some love on today's show. Type those 9s down below in the comments section. He has checked every single box that you could ask for as a Vikings fan so far. Now we'll just see if it translates to the regular season and hopefully the playoffs for the Vikes. But let's show him some love. Type those 9s down below in the comments section. Now, the dude who's going to be protecting J.J. McCarthy this season, Christian Darrisaw. Now, he tore his ACL and MCL about 8 months ago, but he was out there on the practice field, which was very shocking, and it's a huge indication that he should be ready to roll for week 1 of the season. But this is what Alec Lewis had to say on Darrisaw, saying less than 8 months recovered from his torn ACL, MCL. The left tackle took part in drills. Where does that leave him as far as his return date? O'Connell hasn't provided a timeline, nor would confirm that Darrisaw's participation means his return will come sooner than expected. O'Connell did, though, rave about Darrisaw's mindset through recovery. And, I just think Christian Darrisaw might be one of those guys that's just a freak in nature. Like, if we remember as Vikings fans, Adrian Peterson, when he returned from that torn ACL, he ran for 2,000 yards. Now, AP was an outlier in terms of athletes. Like, he was one of the best athletes that any of the major sports has ever seen. I wonder if Christian Darrisaw has a little bit of in him, where he's, a big body, he moves extremely well. He's just a freak athlete, and I got a good feeling he'll be ready to roll for week 1, and that'll be huge. But also, if he can't go for week 1, I don't think it'll be the end of the world, because just in school, you got a high-end backup swing tackle at that spot. Clearly, the Vikings, brought in school for a reason to potentially, be the backup for O'Neal if he has to miss time, or obviously if Darrisaw has to miss the first couple weeks of the season. But I think he's going to be out there. This guy's a freak of nature. He's got the right mindset when attacking this rehab. So I think it's all good news on the good news there on the Christian Darrisaw front. But we'll dive into more details from minicamp here in a second. But if you guys want to get a Vikings hoodie today, hit that link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Most of these hoodies are up to 50% off, so take advantage of this deal. They got some great options. If you guys are sitting at a bonfire late at night, gets a little chilly there in the Minneapolis area, and you guys want to go pick up a new Vikings hoodie, click that link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Got this link for you guys in the comments section and description of today's show. But most of these are 50% off, so take advantage of this deal today. All right, probably the best news coming out from minicamp is a cornerback is stepping up, and it's actually a UDFA 6'3" corner out of Utah, Zemaiah Vaugn. Now, he has been making plays all minicamp, and he's been actually getting some run with the ones, which was a bit of a shocker, but still great news for us fans. And this is what Alec Lewis had to say, actually highlighting 2 UDFAs, saying 2 undrafted players specifically staked their claims in the last month. Cornerback Zemaiah Vaugn and receiver returner Silas Bolden. Vaugn consistently positioned himself near the ball and reacted comfortably in coverage. He even mixed in Thursday with the starters. Bolden, meanwhile, caught most of the passes directed his way and fielded both kicks and punts. Now, Vaugn might be competing with former UDFA corner Dwight McClothern, and Bolden's skills might be juxtaposed alongside Rondell Moore, who is yet to fully join in on the practice mix. And I think the Vikes clearly has some confidence in this cornerback room. They could have signed a Jair Alexander, and they very well still could. They still could trade for Jalen Ramsey, but I think them going throughout the whole draft process and the whole UDFA process without making any really major moves besides signing an Isaiah Rodgers and signing a Jeff Okudah, that could mean they have faith in a guy like Zemaiah Vaugn stepping up. Now, obviously you got Byron Murphy, the do-it-all corner, can play some slot, can play some outside. Rodgers will be that outside guy, and Mekhi Blackman, hopefully he's one of the better outside corners for this group this season. But even if he, let's just say Blackman isn't able to, step up to the expectations, he's still got a guy like Zemaiah Vaugn, Dwight McClothern sitting behind him. So that's going to be something I'm watching out for preseason. Vaugn, McClothern, even a guy like Jeff Okudah, if he could, get back to who he was supposed to be when he was coming out of Ohio State. But it's just all very positive stuff around the Minnesota Vikings right now, specifically that cornerback position, which is great. But I'll ask you guys this. What's your confidence level in the Vikings cornerback room? Scale it for me 1 to 10 down below in the comments section. For me right now, I'm probably at a 7.5 because there are still some big question marks, but a lot of these guys look like they're having good camps, so hopefully that translates to the regular season here. But Flores was also asked about Josh Metellus. He's looking to get that contract extension for right reason. He's one of the biggest pieces in this defense, and this is what Flores had to say about him. Josh Metellus is as valuable a player on the roster as we have, and that's very true. Like, he is that backbone. He is that glue of that defense. He can play every single position. And when you have a guy like Brian Flores that puts a bunch of players in different spots on any given play, having that Swiss Army knife like Josh Metellus is so valuable. But even more good news here on the secondary. Byron Murphy was talking about Isaiah Rodgers, and he says, that's my best friend already. That's my dog. He was talking about them playing 2K Madden late at night, just gaming together. So they're building that connection. And I got a feeling Murphy and Rodgers, that's going to be the tandem at the quarterback spot. Like, Brian Flores loves himself some Isaiah Rodgers, has some huge expectations for him, and hopefully he can just up his game with getting more reps than he has, in previous seasons. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with a skull down below in the comments section. Appreciate all of you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.